Microdose, yeah, Microdose. Hosted by Kush Hayes and Robyn Seto. Talking the talk, cause they got things for you to know. Let's go party with Miss Robyn in the games on Cameo. Yeah, Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. What gets this next? Go and take a guess. No matter who it is, every episode's the best. Every episode's the best. Every episode's the best. If you disagree, you're crazy, simple as chess. Microdose, 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 yeah.
What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here, coming to you, Microdose number 61. Holy hell. With me, as always, Robyn Seto. Miss Robyn, if you're nasty, how you doing tonight?
Feeling good. Feeling fresh.
Miss Robyn, we're both wrestling fans. I think you're a bigger fan than I am these days. I've fallen off. I've turned a corner. It's always a thing I'm interested in, but I don't know anything about the genre today, the sport. But this is WrestleMania weekend. It's the showcase of the Immortals. The showcase of the Immortals.
Woo.
And we got a special guest tonight. We're on a great streak. He's a pro wrestler. He's an actor. He's a broadcaster, an announcer. You can get married by him. He does some mocap and some VO, but his name is at AJ Kirsch. He's here to talk about Tough Talk with AJ Kirsch, recognizing 10 years on season 5 of Tough Enough. AJ, how are you doing tonight, my man?
I'm great, man. I am about 60 microdoses behind you, though, so I've got some catching up to do. But I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for plugging the podcast right off the bat. I appreciate it, and I was shaking my head because I can't believe it's been 10 years since I was on season 5 of WWE Tough Enough, and you and I were just talking off air just moments ago about how that was as that show was airing 10 years ago. Literally, this 10 years ago, 2011 was the last time that you and I actually spent any focused time on each other. We've done the ships in the night at shows and stuff, but like it's been a while, and it's great to catch up with you. And I'm Robyn. It's great to meet you, and I'm just stoked to be here. So thanks for having me.
My man, Tough Enough was this special, it was this extra door that opened. It was this X factor. It was a fresh opportunity. It was a warp zone to the final level, if you will. I thought you might appreciate
I played the hell out of that flute. Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did, buddy. And when Tough Enough came back in 2010, or it was announced, like, people were excited. Something was different about this one. Like, there was the 3 years on MTV. There was the segment on SmackDown, which I don't know, whatever. But USA, it felt like it was a bigger set of eyeballs. It felt like everyone was in on it. I remember a gimmick about, hey, if you get X number of votes off of your promo, we'll give you an extra 5 minutes with the casting directors. And I don't think that did anything for anybody. But with an October 2010 premiere, what was your casting process?
Man, that is a brief question, and it could be an answer that could span several hours, which is one of the reasons why I started the podcast, just because between reality television, which is already, just fraught with how real is it, how, controversial, how manufactured, and then you have the world of pro wrestling, which is just this weird, carny showbiz. How much of it is real? How much of it is fake? So between the two, there's just a lot to unpack there. But in order to kind of succinctly summarize my casting experience, things get around these days. I heard that the show was coming around via social media. And you're right off the bat, there were things setting it apart from the prior incarnations of Tough Enough. USA Network immediately following Monday Night Raw. So you had you had millions of wrestling fans tuning into Raw that don't even need to push a button on the remote to tune into Tough Enough right after Raw. And I mean, when Stone Cold Steve Austin is announced as the host, then you're like, oh, now you have my attention. And then you have Booker T, Trish Stratus, and Bill DeMott as trainers. And this was when NXT was just another television show. This was before the Performance Center. This was before NXT was its own show. So I think a lot of other contestants looked at this as, a fast track to earning a contract with WWE. And at the time, that was easily, far and away, my number one priority was to get signed like WWE, and I was going to main event WrestleMania, blah, 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 blah. But the casting process was, I think, I don't know if there was any degree of truth that if you signed up for this website called realitywanted.com, which is something else I hadn't thought about in like a decade until I started getting into the podcast, that put you in front of more reality TV show casting producers. And for a while, I was either number one or second to the top. So I don't know if that had anything to do with me getting on the show, but ultimately I made it on the show. Backtracking to Reality Wanted, eventually a producer got a hold of me, first by an email and saying, hey, we'd like to talk to you, interview you about coming on the show. Actually, I need to rewind even further. I sent in an audition video, just like everybody else did. And do you know, you worked with Mike Fatum, right?
Yes.
At Fog City? Yeah. So I got a hold of him. He's actually the one who helped me shoot the audition video, interviews with my parents, footage of me working as a bouncer in San Francisco at the time, footage of me working out. And I went through my MTV phase. I saw Real World and Road Rules, and I saw the prior seasons of Tough Enough. So I knew what made a decent audition video, and I could navigate iMovie okay. So I knew how to overlay audio and transition in and out. And really the thought that kind of made me want to go for it in the first place was somebody has to be on that show. Why not me? I think it should be me. Why not? Let's give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? The answer is always no unless you ask. So I was like, I'm going to ask. So I send in my audition video, and then not too long later, casting gets a hold of me, starts out with a brief half-hour phone interview. A half-hour phone interview turns into an hour-long Skype interview.
Really?
And this is maybe a week or two apart between interviews. That hour or two Skype interview turns into an extended phone interview, maybe 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. Yeah. And I might be fudging the times a little bit, not deliberately, but this was, 10 years ago. And
for sure,
I just remember each interview was more and more extensive and, brief, hour, definitely over an hour. And then at one point they were like, okay, here's the next step. We're going to fly you to LA, but we need you to pack as if you're going to be here for 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's when I was like, okay, I must be pretty far along in this process then. I'm feeling good about this. But that's when it really started sinking in too, because I'm like, I need to tell work that I'm not going to be around. I need to cancel the shows that I'm going to be on because I was booked to be at Pro Championship Wrestling that weekend. I need to let my parents know. I need to let my circles know that I might be gone for a little while.
And they were serious about no phones, no communication. You're under the radar. You're gone.
Absolutely. If they saw anything on social media that even alluded to the fact that you were going to be on the show, then they were going to yank you. You would lose that amazing opportunity. But so they flew 28 people to LA, and without revealing too many spoilers, one of whom was a huge staple in West Coast indie wrestling, who, according to him, only his kind of running buddies in wrestling knew that his two running buddies in wrestling knew that he was going to be involved in the casting process. And so I'll be interviewing him on an upcoming episode of the show. And I haven't gotten clearance yet, but I have a text commitment from somebody who's wrestling on the card at WrestleMania this weekend, who was also in the running to be on the show. And again, I don't want to say who because I don't know who knows. And he and I haven't discussed it further, but he's on the card at WrestleMania this weekend and is a multi-time champion in WWE. And I think those are the only clues I'm going to give. But fingers crossed, WWE PR lets it happen. But it would be awesome if I could get him on. So anyway, I saw some familiar faces in this casting process. And then after an interview in front of USA executives, WWE executives, I think Kevin Dunn was there, John Laurinaitis was there, Big John Gabruick was there, who was a producer on the prior seasons of Tough Enough. They were all there, and they kind of, it was like this in like a cop movie where it's like interrogation with like the one light on you and it's just like kind of blind. You're like, oh, that's what it was like. Just being in front of this firing squad of television and WWE executives. And then at some point, somebody knocked on my hotel. So we were all staying in the hotel. We were completely sequestered. We couldn't talk to anybody because if we were selected to be on the show, they want our very first interactions with each other to be caught on camera because you can't replicate that first like encounter with each other.
So no roommates. Everyone's got their own room.
Correct. Everybody's got their own room. We're not talking to anybody. And at some point, somebody knocks on my door. I don't exactly remember who, but there was a camera behind them. And they were like, you've been selected to be a contestant on this season of Tough Enough.
Holy shit.
And I was just like, stunned, numb. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to flip out or just to like, be the professional, just be like, oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really looking forward to making the most of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to balance it out. And then they were like, great. So pack your bags. We need you in the lobby at like 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then we're headed right into our first challenge. And our first challenge was kind of being cleanup crew and extra helpers at SmackDown in San Diego, which was taping the following night. So the way they filmed the show was, we get to the house, we, get to our bunks, we read the letters, we check out our belts, all that stuff. And then we went to SmackDown. So that's kind of a flip-flop there where we actually dove into our first field trip before even getting to the house. And then we were off to the races.
How many days were you sequestered before you finally got that knock on the door?
Probably 3 or 4, I want to say.
And that's all in the 6 weeks still?
No, that's prior to the 6 weeks.
That's prior to the 6 weeks. Fascinating.
6 weeks that I kind of set aside was as of the beginning of filming. And so, it depends on how long people stayed on the show. If you got eliminated immediately, you were there for 4 days or whatever. So
did you stay in the house or did you go to a different hotel at some point?
When somebody got eliminated, they did not go back into the house. Prior to walking down to the training center to face Steve, who would ultimately decide who stays and who goes, we would pack our bags like we were leaving. And when I was eliminated in episode 8, I had my bags outside the training facility. They picked me up in a big SUV and took me to a hotel and flew me home the next day.
Wow. So
you really are very quickly removed from the bubble in which you're filming the show.
Were you allowed to go back on social medias after that, or are you still just like NDAs until this date?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a way for me to look up my Facebook history and Twitter history and see what that activity looked like.
For sure. Well, I remember the tweet out was poof.
Yeah.
And then he was like, hey, I'm back.
Right. I remember putting that on Facebook as well. And it's funny too, because I was so careful about, I don't know, maybe I didn't post poof on Facebook, but I did on Twitter. And Facebook, I actually gave somebody my sign-in, my username and my password, because at the time I was posting this thing called the Bouncer blog when I would write short stories based on my experience as a bouncer in San Francisco and Sacramento. Like 2 pages of a Word document, not long, but enough that I enjoyed doing it and people enjoyed reading them.
As a doorman, they were entertaining and authentic.
You get it.
I got it. Yeah. I was there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I actually gave her my signing credentials and was like, hey, on this date, could you post this? On this date, could you post this? So on my Facebook, I was still cranking out the Bouncer blog, which was a weekly thing, but it further added to the illusion that I was like actually gone.
When the final product is airing, everything is come and gone. We haven't announced a winner yet, but everything has been filmed. It's in the can, and we're just on the schedule. During that time, there feels like a favorite, and you have to, again, it's been 10 years, so I forget if it's Matt Capaccioni or Martin Cascas, but I feel like one of those two was the favorite to win and either got eliminated early or had a serious injury, and that threw everything into chaos.
Yes to both. Let me straighten those out real quick.
Please.
So Matt I'm not even going to try his last name because I know it's a long one.
Excuse us, Matt.
On the independent scene as Matt Cross, also known as Son of Havoc from Lucha Underground.
M-Dog 20?
M-Dog 20 from the Backyard Wrestling days or IC, whatever it was. He, going into it, I would think was the favorite because he was and is to this day unfathomably athletic. Like gymnast background, built like a Greek god. I really think it's only his height that kept him from signing that major contract because he was
a short fellow.
Yeah, 5, I don't know, 7 or 8, maybe 9 on a good day.
For a wrestler, very short.
Very short, but just, again, unfathomably athletic. Could work circles around every single person, every other contestant on that show. And so I think he was the favorite to win the thing. If I remember correctly, though, he was eliminated in the second episode because he just didn't show enough charisma, enough character, which it's really kind of bullshit because in wrestling, I mean, I don't want to take away, like, yes, he did not show a lot of character and he did not show a lot of charisma, but which is what you need to be a successful professional wrestler. Like, that's obvious. But the thing is, when you are in a pro wrestling training environment, it's very militant. It's speak when spoken to. It's yes, sir, no, sir. It's close your mouth, open your ears, work your ass off, pay your dues. And it's a way of showing respect to your trainers and the people you're training with. And Matt, having already had, I don't know, at least 10 years in the business, I think at that point, and brought up that just in that very old school, mentality, was just doing what he was trained to do. He was being trained the way he was trained to be trained. And so by not acting out and by not having this big, larger than life character, I think the judges looked at that and was like, this is WWE you're going for. You need a personality. You might be able to do a backflip off the top of this training facility and stick the landing, but that doesn't mean a thing if people don't care about you. And the trainers didn't have a reason to care about Matt, which is why I think they let him go, which I, to this day, feel awful for. I see why they did it, but it is just kind of catch-22 between what WWE wants in a performer and what the human being is conditioned, how the human being is conditioned to behave when they're in a training mindset. So that kind of sucks.
Personal question. Do you think the producers had Andy Levine in mind the entire time, or was that a surprise for everybody?
God, no.
No offense to him.
No,
I'm sure he's a nice dude.
I'm not even sure I would go that far. I wasn't a big fan of the guy. Like, no, definitely not. Like, Martin was the favorite. After Matt was eliminated, Martin, I think, shortly thereafter won 3 skills challenges in a row. He was funny. He was charismatic. He was liked by, I think, pretty much everybody. And the feud that was emerging was between Martin Casaus, who would also go on to be on Lucha Underground as Marty the Moth Martinez, and just finished 12 weeks training at the Nightmare Factory, Cody Rhodes' school. So there might be a future in AEW for Martin Casaus. So after, he won 3 skills challenges in a row. It was Martin, who was clearly the good guy who was emerging. And then there was Luke Robinson, who was emerging as the slithery, slimy, arrogant heel. But you couldn't really say anything to him because he was so damn good. He perfectly fit that role. And he was a damn good wrestler. So those two were emerging as the 2 favorites to win the whole thing. And had Martin not suffered that freak injury, and I say freak injury not like it was a car crash, like he was rolling out of the ring and he shattered his ankle.
It's the simplest thing.
It's the simplest thing. It's like it's like Triple H's quad. It just shattered.
Yeah, he just took a step forward. No reason.
That's it. And so he was the favorite to win. And Martin shared this quote with me on the debut episode of Tough Talk, which will air this Monday, April the 12th, and is available on wherever you get your podcasts. If you go to thetoughtalkpod.com, it'll take you exactly where you need to go to download it, however you get your podcasts. Martin Casaus told me that Doug LeBeau, who was a longtime producer with WWE, it was either Doug LeBeau or Eric Van Wagenen, both of whom were executive producers on the show.
Mm-hmm.
When he got the news that his ankle was shattered, one of them turned to Martin and said, "You just fucked up the rest of our season."
Wow.
So the producers saw this story forming.
Jesus.
They saw Martin emerging as the babyface favorite, and with that injury, Martin had to withdraw, and the entire future of the show was turned on its head. But for me, I couldn't be more grateful that that happened, because I was on the chopping block at that time. I was like getting by. I was safe, but that
I want to say you had a couple close calls where it was just like, oh my God. And then
definitely
you got where you got.
Close calls. I was in their crosshairs, but with Martin having to withdraw, it probably kept me around for another episode or two. And had that not happened, I wouldn't have had my shining moment on the show, which was cutting that promo in front of The Rock and, you know, getting his fist bump of approval that I won the promo challenge. And, you know, unfortunately, it wasn't enough to save me. I was sent home later that night, but
dude, I high-fived my mom when you made that promo, okay? Like, that's how impactful that shit went, okay? Mama Hayes and me were watching that shit religiously. She had met you a couple times at Fog City. She was like, "Oh, AJ is doing well? Okay." Like, it was a routine for us those 10 weeks, you know?
So sweet. Well, I don't mean this sarcastically at all, but please say hi to your mom for me.
We'll do. We'll do. Let's see. So Martin is going to be on the first episode.
Martin Casals, that's right. He and I, and you know, it was kind of going off your first question. We dissect the casting process, everything that led up to WWE Tough Enough over like an hour and 45 minutes. So we get deep. Deep.
The show comes and goes. Andy Levine is eventually the winner, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. He gets disappeared real quickly, though. It's not even a joke. I'm not even talking about that. There's the reunion shows, and you hang out with Eric Watts every now and then on a show, blah blah blah. But then about a year has passed, and you have that cloud, and you have some reflection and some reminiscence. I remember you putting out a video log or a YouTube video, whatever we want to call it today. But you're just like, is this the biggest thing I've done? Am I going to do more? Like, I remember you getting pretty philosophical on the entire experience for the public. Do you remember that time?
I do, yeah.
What are you thinking in those days?
There was a series of promos I put out called This Is Raw, and I would put them out during Monday Night Raw, and it was a 10-part promo series that I didn't write all 10 ahead of time, but I just had a feeling. I just wanted to put something out there. It was about a year after Tough Enough, and I was just reflecting, and, you know, ever since that moment on Tough Enough where I, you know, blew Bill DeMott's hair back with that promo, I was like, you know what? I think my contributions to wrestling might be more valuable behind a microphone than in a ring. So I should capitalize on that. I should develop that as much as I can. So I did these kind of worked shoot promos that are still available on YouTube, by the way, youtube.com/AJ Kirsch if you want to check them out. But yeah, if you want to search for them, just search for This Is, and then the hashtag Raw. Stone Cold Steve Austin was being honored at Cauliflower Alley in 2012. And so I was kind of playing off of that because I was there too. And, you know, he actually I tweeted something where it was like, you know, "Hey man, really looking forward to seeing you at Cauliflower Alley. You know, it'd be a shame if somebody roughed you up," or it was something stupid like that, where I was like implying that I was going to beat him up. I was going to beat up Steve Austin at Cauliflower Alley. And he either retweeted it or quote tweeted it and said, "I'm looking forward to seeing you too, kid. I might just put your pretty little lights out." And so that even got the internet talking, like, "Oh my God, is Steve Austin going to wrestle at Cauliflower Alley?" So it was fun to just get a little bit of buzz swirling around that. But yeah, I was so excited to be on Tough Enough. I was like, I'm getting on WWE's radar. They are going to know I exist. Holy crap. I had this amazing moment where I had The Rock and Steve Austin and Trish Stratus and Bill DeMott praise my promo prowess. Like, that's got to be worth something, right? And so after a year went by, and, you know, I got squashed by Brodus Clay on WWE Superstars, and I enjoyed that little Tough Enough rub on the indies, but I was also just really creatively stifled because when you're a performer, the fun is getting to be somebody else, even if it's just an amplification of who you really are.
Right.
On Tough Enough, I was just myself. I was just AJ Kirsch. And so when I was wrestling, people just wanted to see AJ Kirsch. And so, like, if I'm being super honest, I don't know that I would buy a ticket to watch me wrestle. I think I was okay. I think I could work with just about anybody and have a good match. But I don't know that I would ever put myself in the category of wrestlers that I would go out of my way to pay to see. Like, ooh, AJ Kirsch is on the card. And I think that's because I couldn't be somebody else because the crowd was just expecting to see the guy they saw on TV.
There's a huge amount of pressure on people just trying to get into Tough Enough. A person that we both know, I will not name his name, but he was being built up internally that, like, not only is he going to be on Tough Enough, but he's going to win Tough Enough. And then after he wins Tough Enough, he's going to be the WWE championship. And, like, I felt the strain in his eyes. And I had to, like, when I heard his trainer say that, I was like, hey, man, statistically, everyone that wins Tough Enough doesn't do anything, with the exception of, like, a John Morrison. He's like the exception to the rule. Right. Majority of time, people that do find success from Tough Enough came in second or third or miscellaneous. Or
were eliminated first, like in Ariane's case. She went on to become Cameron, one half of the Funkadactyls, and and is now like a pop singer. Like, she's carved out a hell of a career for herself, and she was the first person eliminated.
But man, I hear some music in the background. We must be ready for Robyn Seto Cameo Party.
Oh my God, I've heard about this. I'm so excited.
Robyn Seto, I understand we have a game tonight.
We have a game tonight. Yes, welcome to welcome to the Robyn Seto Cameo Party, where I go to cameo.com. I make a themed list of celebrities, and I have Kush go up against our guest to guess the price of each cameo.
I'm like 2 and 20.
Yeah. Well, then you're going to be egg on my face if I make it 3 and 20.
Could happen.
All right. So this week's theme is curated to Kush and AJ. I'm sure you know who most of these people are between the two of you.
We'll find out.
All right. So.
Oh, we flipped a coin backstage. AJ, you called heads. Heads came up. You will go first.
All right. First, we have up Miss Natalie Jansen from Naked Dating, I believe, or Dating Naked Dating.
Wow, that's a fun little reference right there.
Nice.
The name doesn't ring a bell. Was she on my? I don't think she was on my episode.
We could do a whole episode on Naked Dating.
Oh God, and the Zoom would be amazing content for that too. I'm gonna get a cameo for. Why am I not on Cameo? I should be on. $50.
$50.
$50. And what is this woman doing? She's just wishing people happy birthday.
Yeah, I mean, more or less. She was a contestant on this show. I guess she was. I did not watch this show. I was aware of it, but I did not view it. But I will
say she charges $100, and she's got she has a plug for her OnlyFans page at the end of it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
She probably does. However, she's only charging $25.
So both of us lose, right? You can't
Big
go
X.
No points for nobody. Well,
Big
thankfully, that's the last Dating Naked one. Next up, we have Josh Matthews. Josh Matthews, who was on Tough Enough 2001, commentated for TNA Impact for a while, and I think now he's an executive. He's no longer doing commentary. That has gone to D'Lo Brown, and Matt Stryker. So how much do you think Josh Matthews is charging for a cameo?
Well, I hate to say the same number twice, but I feel like he's a $50 cameo. He's been a pretty solid fixture in wrestling for like, oh my God, 20 years now. And good for him for taking the Tough Enough platform, I believe season 1, and like
Was he season
a career out of it.
Yeah.
I think $50. Yeah.
All right. Kush.
He again, he's one of those folks that found fame after not winning the competition. Like, he has one of the better careers of the Tough Enough contestants. I think The Miz has the best career. I don't know anything about season 6. Researching this episode we're doing now, I was like, there's a season 6. There was a season 6. Surprise.
Right.
I'm going to say Josh Matthews, $100.
Again.
Yeah, just $100 again.
All right. Again, he's only charging $25.
Oh, wow. What?
I think he's lowballing himself a little bit.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
He might know his
I think
his market.
in more recent days he's become kind of
like, he was that fan favorite, and again, he had the most. So people were excited to have him do the backstage segments.
Right.
He would do not was it Heat or was it the other one?
Velocity.
Yeah. Like, people were excited to see him succeed, still in wrestling, but outside of the ring.
Yeah,
right. I guess he's also not on camera nowadays, because you're right. He was promoted to an executive, so he's not doing on-air commentary anymore.
Good for him. Good for him still.
I think he's married to Madison Rain. She recently graduated from some other program, and she was doing commentary with him while Dalton Callis was stuck in Canada during the lockdown. Well, all right. Well, moving right along. Next up, we got Ryback, Ryan Allen Reeves from
another Tough Enough alumnus.
Season 4, Tough Enough 4. Tough Enough 4.
Was he on Tough Enough 4? Okay, yeah, the SmackDown editions.
Yeah, he was the Silverback Gorilla, and I believe his first gimmick was like he was that happy-go-lucky kind of farm strong dude who was just like yup.
Yeah.
And then he ate Goldberg and then came back just even more jacked and feed me more. He had a hot run there for a while, but apparently he was kind of like didn't know his own strength and wasn't exactly the most graceful in the ring. So
I understand several folks got injured. Not one folks, several folks got injured.
Yeah. Pretty sure CM Punk is not a big fan right now. Okay, I got to come up with a number here. God damn. See, I feel like these are escalating in notoriety, and I can't say $50 again, so I'm going to say $40.
All right.
Wow. I think the only thing bigger than Ryback's muscles is probably his ego. Again, when he's responsible for injuring several folks, including Mr. CM Punk, which I completely forgot about. They gave him a very strange gimmick that he was wearing RVD's unitards. So when he would come out to the ring, I would always do this gimmick where he's just like, "Here's RVD," and then you just like start like elevating your arms. I think
Dope
Ryback's
shirt, Blair. Dope shirt.
Oh, thanks, Blair. Yeah, man. Here's Will Hobbs with red hair.
Awesome.
I love it.
Shout out to Will Hobbs, who's killing it in AEW right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, he's doing great. I'm going to say $200 for Ryback.
No, okay, 200.
I think his ego's as big as his muscles.
Well. He's charging 100. So
motherfucker.
Damn it.
First point.
I was off, but yes, that is the point because I didn't go over. Price is Right rules, $1.
Price is Right.
Hey, there you go. Well, next up, a familiar name around here, Martin Casaus.
Oh.
Marty Fly.
That's the first guest of Tough Talk with AJ Kirsch coming out this Sunday.
Tough.
Well done. Monday, actually.
Monday
the 12th. I wanted to do it the Raw or the day after WrestleMania because Tough Enough aired for the first time the day after WrestleMania. So
Aww.
Nice little, it's like 10
Well,
years.
wink and nod.
Yeah. Marty the Moth. Let's see. Ryback was $100. I don't know. Martin does not have much of an ego about him. So I'm going to say, I think it's a little bit less than Ryback. I'm going to say Martin charges $75.
All right. Huge.
I've, as demonstrated earlier in our episode, I've mixed up Martin with Matt, and so I'm not going to try and wax poetic on anything, but I'm going to just say $50 because I don't know any better.
All right, $50. Mr. Marty the Moth Martinez Casas is charging $20 for a cameo.
Oh, all right.
You've got the most humble selection of pro wrestlers tonight, Robyn Seto.
Well, they fit the theme, and it was just a coincidence.
This is I can't talk for AJ Kirsch here, but I've been conditioned enough where like, oh, so and so might be charging $1,000 for this, like, but that's that leave me alone money.
Right. That's like, I don't think you're going to say yes, but if you do, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Right.
If you make me pull out my smartphone, it's going to be $1,000.
Right.
Cost you at least that much. All right. Last but not least up, we have John Morrison, aka John Hennigan, aka Johnny Mundo, aka Johnny Impact, aka etc.
Johnny Nitro.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Let's see. And what was
His
that?
career has been fantastic to follow. He's a Sacramento boy, if I recall.
Sacktown.
Yeah.
Holla.
AJ, did you know him on the indies at all? Like,
I knew him more recently on the indies between his, when he was with Impact Johnny Impact. He was with Impact for a while.
okay.
He did a couple APW shows. I actually remember ring announcing him for the first time in I don't know if it was a full decade, but there was an M&M reunion with him and Joey Mercury that I was super stoked to announce.
Big Time Wrestling, right?
Was that BTW? I think it was APW. I'm almost sure it was APW, but
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if BTW also got in on that action.
Hmm.
Although I might be mistaken as well, so could have been either.
It was a while ago.
Let's see. Yeah. Actually, somebody else I'm trying to get on the show. He and I follow each other on Twitter, so I'm going to shoot him a DM. He was the guest on the episode where we did the ropes course, and so to have his insight from being on a prior season of Tough Enough, I think he'd make a wonderful guest, so fingers crossed that happens.
Okay.
He's pretty famous. He's had a really good run. $100 for Johnny Mundo.
Straight C note. Kush.
As much as I am removed from pro wrestling these days, I thought Johnny Mundo, John Morrison, was still in AEW. I found out he's on the card this weekend for WrestleMania, working with The Miz in a tag team match. I don't even know who they're facing, but that's going to be a fun match.
A newcomer named Damian Priest and a rapper named Bad Bunny.
So it is a rapper. Okay, because I've heard the name Bad Bunny in a couple different circles. I was like, oh, is he a comic book character? Is he a rapper?
Right. No, this
he's a
is
rapper.
the attraction match.
They paired him up with the perfect two then. So the Miz and Morrison are going to protect them. They're going to look like $1 million.
Yep.
John Morrison, local boy, Northern California. I'm going to say 200 again, just because he's got a great pedigree.
Well, John Morrison is charging $100.
Nailed it!
This is the most humble cast you've ever curated, Robyn Seto.
And he's only doing 15 of them as part of a promotion for WrestleMania. So there you go.
Robyn Seto's Cameo Party.
For what, 2 or 3 minutes of you just yakking into your phone? That's a pretty good deal. By the way, I am not on Cameo, but I do offer, I don't. Broseph Joe Brokley does shout outs for $20, 60 seconds for $20.
So, is that through Patreon?
No, that's through Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. So to be honest, he just makes me handle it for him. It's my PayPal, it's my Cash App, it's my Venmo. But when that money hits, then he's all about it. So, and they're also just peppered with swear words. So if you need a little brotivation, if you need to tell your boss that you quit in spectacular fashion, happy birthday, all the stuff people do cameos for, then find me on social media at AJ Kirsch. And I'll make sure that the message gets through to Brosif, and unanimously positive reviews all around.
All right. Yeah, he's probably making more money this way because Cameo does take 25% of the profits.
Yeah, that's the answer. That's why I'm not on Cameo.
Yeah,
just put it out there on social media and keep 100% of what people send me. Yeah. And Brosif.
Speaking of Brosif, is there any details on a future Hood Slam? I know things are just starting to open up, but
there's some whispers and murmurs about potential plans. Mm-hmm. Nothing that I'm comfortable sharing yet, but the discussions are underway. I remember seeing something saying that the goal is to have California completely open by June 15th. Mm-hmm. So maybe, probably something's in the works. Again, I'm just not comfortable sharing specific whens or hows or wheres yet.
That's all right. Well, let's share this on the Facebooks, the Instagrams, and the Twitters. You can see at the Tough Talk Pod and the toughtalkpod.com. You're going to get more details on AJ Kirsch's new podcast talking about 10 years ago he did Tough Enough Part 5.
Crazy it was 10 years ago. And by the way, I've also got a ton of bonus content, including full-length bonus episodes. You get the Tough Talk episodes 3 days earlier than everybody else. You get them ad-free. You get exclusive pictures and videos from Tough Enough contestants. And I actually kept a journal when I was on the show. And I will be cracking it open, transcribing the pages, and posting them up for everybody to see. All of that is at patreon.com/AJ Kirsch, and it's under the Money Talks tier for all your Tough Talk bonus content.
That's what's up. Robyn Seto, you do some stuff around here. What are you doing?
Oh, well, outside of this little podcast, I do a weekly beer review called Polite Beer Expressions. So you do have to read them with your eyes, not listen with your ears, but they're very short and just kind of fun. This month is April, and we have a new theme for April. April sours, all different kinds of sours. We did a Blue Hawaiian inspired sour this past week. And so, look out for those. Those go up on Wednesdays, California time at noon, because we do like to sleep in.
I do a couple things around here. You can check out Sweet Science Cinema. Episode 2 just dropped. Jameel Hemphill and myself, we're talking The Great White Hype. That dropped on.
I love Jameel, and I love that movie. I'm absolutely tuning into this podcast.
Please do. It's been out since March 31st. You're going to love it. Him and I do a thing. It's going to be every other month. So there's 6 episodes coming out this year. This is episode 2. We've already done episode 3. That will be $1 Million Baby. And that is coming out in May. Last Wednesday of May. Kush and Kai, number 54. You can catch me and Kai talking about Cobra Kai Season 3. That's our 420 episode. That's April 20th. It's going to be a great time. We're loving the Cobra Kai. And then finally, me and director Len Kabazinski out of Erie, Pennsylvania, the Kick-Ass Movie Podcast. We're talking Blood Fist Part 3. That's April 28th. It's a great time. AJ Kirsch, I can't thank you enough for being on this show tonight. It's been a blast. Is there anything else you want to drop on us?
Yeah, no, very grateful for having me. It was great to catch up. I'm so stoked to learn about this podcast too. I didn't know you had that with Jameel. I love Jameel. He's one of my oldest friends in wrestling, so I'm excited to check that out. But yeah, if you want to get a deep dive into reality television, pro wrestling, and this mashup between the two that was season 5 of WWE Tough Enough, I would appreciate very much if you checked out that podcast. thetoughtalkpod.com, and it debuts this Monday with Martin Casal. So I appreciate you checking it out if you're interested, and I appreciate the both of you for having me on to spread the good word.
Monday, April 12th. That's all platforms plus thetoughtalkpod.com. For AJ Kirsch, I've been Kush Hayes.
I have been Robyn.
You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the BosNet family.
You just fucked up the rest of our season.